Hello, my friends. 3KO Games here. We have a balance update for December 2025. I think it's live now. So let's jump in and see what families, what heroes are affected. Do you get any bonuses for anybody on your roster? Is this really balanced? What is it balancing? All those questions. Here we go. Astral Demon Family. Family bonus and passive skills are getting buffs. All right, obviously these are the newest heroes in the game. So do they need help? Not totally. Not really. However, I do remember when a lot of these came out remarking that, gosh, Astral Dwarves have a much better passive, that their actual passive skills for Astral Demons were actually, kind of weak. So they heard us loud and clear, and boom, we'll fix that. Family bonus is now. The old was a chance to cleanse a random status ailment from the hero when receiving special skills. And now it's a chance to cleanse all status ailments from the hero when receiving special skills. So we are not cleansing the whole team, but we are cleansing multiple ailments from the caster, from this hero in particular. Passive skills now. New passive skill added, Hinder Mana. Reduces the amount of mana increased by special skills, passive skills, family bonuses, and status effects by 80%. This effect applies to all enemies in battle. Wow. I feel like we've been hearing about these mana increasers a lot recently. Some great videos by Psychrosis, by Andrew Chang, about characters like Zestique, the good old Nautica, Sleposi, and finding a way to maybe use those with some slow speed heroes to make them basically average speed. We've got, with Insanity this week, we've got healers out there like Bramble, another person that's going to increase mana. And now, with an Astral Demon, if you're facing any of those heroes, whatever their mana gain is going to be reduced by 80%. That's pretty big. I like it. Resist mana status ailments replaced with resist negative mana effects. So that grants immunity not just to ailments and negative stacks, but also mana reductions. That's good. And I'm thinking about, resisting these mana status ailments would also resist the moth dust. So it's not so dangerous that their cleanse in the family bonus is not a safe cleanse, because they're not going to get the moth dust anyway. Now we have a little increase for the two original Astral Demons, X-Shar, or Zashar, if you prefer, is getting a little bit of health boost increased of 5% and a damage increase of 60% when enemies have boosted health. Paimon is getting a huge direct damage increase from 440% to 580%. So what balance are we updating here? Is it Astral Demons versus the rest of the heroes? Not at all, because we still have tons of older heroes that could just use a huge stat increase to not make them meta, but just to make them usable by somebody who's got a more developed roster, but still has some older heroes. But we are balancing the original Astral Demons with the latest Astral Demons that are being released. I guess that is the balance that we're updating. Let's take a look at, as long as we have Insanity War this week, Institute and Forsaken families are also getting a boost here. Passive skills. The Eldritch Pact is getting a buff, and I think that's warranted. I always said when those heroes came out, I'm like, well, I don't know, that seems like a minor nuisance, but like, whatever. Eldritch Pact is this chance to revive as an Eldritch host. It was up to 50% for each 10 insanity, and now it's up to 100%. And if you defeat yourself with your own insanity, you are automatically going to transform into an Eldritch host, which gets a boost in attack, defense, and then direct damage is increased. And insanity is increased from 30 to 35. Okay, I mean, that makes this passive skill, this Eldritch Pact, more usable in general, not just this kind of minor nuisance that you don't really know is it going to happen, whatever. Branded by old ones, increased damage per insanity buffed from 5 to 6%, so up to 60%. I don't think that buff helps this one. It's still asking you to take a bigger risk when you have more insanity to just attack anyway. And I'd rather just heal that insanity down and use that hero later than flip a coin. The other something by the old ones, whatever that passive is reducing your damage per insanity, and that's helpful. This one still, I just don't like it, even if it's buffed. Fear defense reduction is buffed from 35 to 40%. Damage dealt to random ally increases by 30%, and that only affects Kadath, so we don't have fear anywhere else. That's fine. Catrox is getting a little bit more insanity inflicted on enemies, just 5, and maximum stored damage increased from 1,000 to 1,500. Okay, I appreciate that some of these newer heroes are getting a little bit more insanity inflicted. I think that has been a downfall of a lot of the newer insanity heroes. Their stats are great, but for my money, I still want to go all the way back to the original Atwood, who's giving himself 50 or whatever, but giving everybody else 45. So you're actually giving out more than what you receive. Some of these newer ones aren't giving out much more than they receive. So it's a question of, is it really worth it? Especially if you don't have a reliable soft skin hero to prevent your insanity. So a bunch of these heroes getting a little bit more insanity that they give to enemies. Catrox, 5 more. Professor Morrister, who is balanced pretty well as far as to the enemies and to himself, but he's still getting 5 more insanity, and defense reduction against special skills increased by 10%. Demhalar is getting 5 more insanity on enemies. Kadath, 5 more insanity inflicted on the target. Okay, it's not much, but it's something. Construct family is getting a buff to the killer bot minion. Increased HP from 22 to 27%. There again, it's not much, but it's something. And then the Beauty and the Beast family. We must be having the Beauty and the Beast event pretty soon, because here they are getting a buff. Passive skill, revival health reduction. Amount of revival health reduced, increased. That's the way that's worded is very funny. It's reduced. It's increased. No. When somebody revives, their revival health is reduced, and that amount is increased from 50% to 80%. That's great against a lot of these Wildcat heroes, especially if you're facing a bunch of them. Just making sure that you can take them out right away before they hit again. Passive skill, heal when status ailment expires or is cleared. You get, it was 10%, now it's 15%, and it affects all legendary heroes of the family. The Beast is getting a little buff. Direct damage for humility-powered special skill is increased by 30%. Rose de Flow is having her humility reduced, or the humility needed for the more powerful special skill is lowered from 60 to 50. That has been a critique about Rose de Flow, so I appreciate that. She's also giving growth to all allies. Yeah, 150 attack with the more powerful skill, and 100 attack with the less powerful skill. So Rose de Flow, even more desirable now. Very nice. Wiglaf is getting a buff in damage per defeated ally, just by 5%. By 10%, special skill damage increased. Bonga is getting a little increase in his minions, this Tokri minions. 3% more HP and 8% more attack. Okay, and now we get to the monthly throw a bone to the old heroes of the month, but it's a very weak little bone. Like, why do we keep doing this? Let's take these old heroes of the month. Okay, if it has to be a money game, let's introduce some more costumes for them. That would be fun. And if it's not, then let's just say, hey, let's buff their stats to a point where, again, they're not meta, but they're maybe usable by somebody whose, roster is a little bit more advanced. Because this little 30% damage that we increase them to, it's just not much. But anyway, that's what we got. We got 30% increased damage from Evelyn and her costume. From Ruben, status ailment damage reduction buffed. Okay, Hanitra is going to get a little bit more health boost per dodge. I did like Hanitra when she first came out, but I just don't think you can use her anymore. Balur, direct damage increased by 50%. Okay, that's bigger. Liadria is getting a better minion who does more health boost by a little bit. Theon is getting a 1% direct heal increased. Wow. Healing increase is buffed by 5%. So minimal. I don't know. Some mechanic updates. Soul Connection effects are now considered ailments when cast on enemies and buffs when cast on allies. Okay. So when I'm in events and trying to stack my Soul Connection hero, especially in blue, so I've got like costume gunner, and then it's 4-star, so I want to bring somebody like Sonya, who's a strong blue hitter, Toon Sonya. It has been where her buff dispel takes that Soul Connection away from the enemies. So thank you. That's a little thing, but that's really, really helpful for those events. Now I can hit with Toon Sonya afterwards, and it's not going to take the Soul Connection away. Very good. Late additions. Leora's special skill was initially configured with a fixed damage values of 375% to target, 225% to others. She was not reaching the intended power when fully leveled. So the damage has been changed to scaled from 350 to 385% and 220 to 255%. Okay, she's not a horrible hero of the month, so she's getting a little bit more. Interesting. We are also getting a bigger costume bonus for rare classic heroes. Increased to 18% attack, 18% defense, 23% health, and 5% mana. Okay, that's a lot of balance updates. That's all for me today. Let me know down below what you think about all of these updates, and thanks for checking out the video. We'll see you next time.